And after the return of Punisher, we've also got the return of Josh for another month of gaming news. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Oh, good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad.
It's been a bit of a dry month, to be completely honest. Love the segue, by the way, as always. Um, Last month we spoke that it was going to start picking up, and I think I jinxed it. But I think this month, I think next month's episode will have a lot to feedback on, which we'll talk.
Yeah.
Games that we discussed last month that have got some scores now. Lost Records, Rage and Bloom Take 1, and Avowed, I think dropped on the day or the day before we recorded last month, so they didn't have scores yet. Lost Records has got a 74, which is disappointing for me. I will be playing it and recording it. I think part 2 comes out in April, early April, I think. I believe it's on Game Pass and PS Plus. So
Okay.
Decent.
check that one out. Avowed, another one I want to check out, but simply haven't got the time at the minute. 80, which one of us had it in the Fantasy Critic. Can't remember who.
I think it was Joel.
Was it Jill? Right, okay. 80, I mean, it's not horrendous. Maybe people thought it was going to be a bit better than 80. I'm hearing mixed things, but it might be an accurate score. Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Hell of a name. 79. PGA
That's
Tour.
quite low for a Like a Dragon game. I feel like
I
Like
feel
a Dragon
like-
games normally review quite well, no?
I feel like this is more of like a spin-off. It's not like a
Oh, got ya.
main title.
Still got me some points.
Yeah, 79. I mean, what's that? 9 points? I can't remember how to. I've not checked that in weeks. I need to go and have a look. Sports season is among us. PGA Tour got an 80, which, I mean, they're always pretty good games. I saw Nadeshot playing it. It looked pretty decent, but it's just the same every year, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I noticed they spent a lot more money marketing it via streamers and YouTubers this year. So I don't know if that's because they have more faith in this game, or if they're like a lot of big YouTubers now also play golf. Let's capitalize on that market.
When did 2K take it over? Because it wasn't always 2K.
The PGA 2K game started in 22, I want to say, or maybe 21.
Oh, okay. So maybe
Yeah,
it's just been a
there was
slow
like a big
ramp up
break,
of-
and then they came back. I'm pretty sure. And maybe, like you say, that people are being pushed, because I remember when Topspin 2K25 dropped last year, a lot of streamers were advertising that, so maybe similar type of thing. And then we got two big boys, Monster Hunter Wilds, which dropped late February, 89. I don't believe any of us three have played it yet. I was sort of on the fence, but because it's got an 89, I was sort of waiting for reviews. But I mean, that's got to put it in the top 5 games of this year so far. I could only imagine we're only in March, and an 89 is pretty solid. And then Split Fiction, a 91. I mean, we knew it was going to do well. Con, you were lucky enough to pick that up in our Fantasy Critic. An absolute. I'm pretty sure that puts it like first or second in terms of game releases this year.
I believe so.
On
Yeah.
Metacritic scores.
Yeah, I think first.
Me and Jewel are playing it through together. I think we're about 5 or 6 hours in, and we're having a great time. It is.
What I've heard is the story isn't quite as good as It Takes Two, which makes sense. It Takes 2 is a phenomenal narrative, but the leaps and bounds in like the gameplay experience makes up for all of that.
It's literally what we've said so far. We're not really invested in the story at all, which is a bit of a shame. But the gameplay and visually, the game, it just looks unbelievable. Like if this was like a God of War or like a AAA title, some of the scenes and settings that you're in, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. You'd assume it was like one of those games. But we're loving it so far. I believe it's like a 15-hour game, so we've still got loads left.
All I've seen is many clips of people doing the mobile phone thing on the back of the bike.
all the captures and stuff.
We had that the other day, and it was Jewel who was doing that, and I can't confirm he was stressing out. It was really funny. And then finally, the Rise of the Ronin PC port, sitting at 73, was a 76 on PS5. So it seems whenever a PS5 game gets ported to PC at the minute, there must be issues because they're always scoring lower.
There's
Which
another
is-
way you could look at that.
I'm never saying anything bad. Which is unfortunate. Sony need
Yeah.
to sort that out. Obviously, we had the same issues with Spider-Man, which we discussed last episode or the one before.
Mhm.
Something that hopefully they can get on top of. And then when I was doing my notes, the yet to release for, because I always time it, I didn't cover late April, because obviously we'll be covering that in next month's episode. But there was only really 3 big games that I know we would sort of be following to release up until then. We've got Assassin's Creed Shadows, which drops tomorrow as we're recording. My pre-order has been dispatched. I'm very much looking forward to it. Hearing very good things, which I'm surprised about. I think on OpenCritic at the minute, it's only sitting on an 82, but all the, say, Valhalla, for instance, looked great, but it was way too long, and the reviews weren't glowing. Whereas I'm seeing a lot of 9s out of 10s, a lot of 4 out of 5s from big review teams and stuff like that. So I'm very
I've
much
seen a
looking forward to
couple
it.
saying it's the best since Black Flag, which I think
that
is
is some big
incredibly
praise.
high praise.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll be going for the Platinum Trophy on that, and that's probably going to take a stupid amount of time. First Berserker Kazan, 27th of March. Then South of Midnight, which I've watched a few podcasts about because the embargo got lifted a few weeks ago. Okay reviews, nothing too crazy. I believe that is on Game Pass day 1.
Yeah.
To my best knowledge. And that's 8th of April. But apart from that, there's a lot of shovelware, a couple of indie games on PC. I think Steam are doing a big sale at the minute, and I know PlayStation have got a big.
I got
PlayStation
so
have
many
got their spring sale.
notifications from
Yeah,
multiple apps going,
this game on
"These
your wish
games
list
you
is in
wish
the sale."
listed. Yeah, fucking ridiculous, mate.
I've had the same. But yeah, apart from that, we're pretty quiet, to be honest, until next month's episode. Hopefully there'll be more to discuss. More people
GTA
will.
6.
GTA 6
I can't-
trailer?
If we get that in April,
Copium.
imagine. To be fair, I think by next month's episode we might have the Nintendo Direct to discuss.
Yeah, that's supposed to be early April.
4th of April or 2nd of April, because I remember we got confused with the dates, didn't
Yeah.
we, last time? So
Fucking
we'll have
American
that to
dates.
discuss next month. So fingers crossed, some dates and more dates to discuss for different games and potentially the console itself. Announcements, news, and updates. So Con loves when I talk about The Last of Us, so I thought I had to include this straight away. Sony announced and released pre-orders for The Last of Us DualSense.
So is this a remastered one, or is this?
This is the first of its kind.
It's a remastered
Although,
DualSense, so it's a
I
broken
think
one
there
that they've
might have
refurbed.
been. I think there might have been a DualShock 4 Last of Us, but this is completely different. You can pre-order that on PlayStation Direct. Yes, I have ordered mine for my collection. Cannot wait. It's actually a really nice controller.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me Google this and see what it looks like.
It
Because
is
I
really
will
Probably
mock
not
it
as good as
regardless.
the OG PlayStation one, though, is it? Let's be honest.
Oh no,
Lost
it's not.
Us DualSense.
I still haven't used mine. I've been too scared to use mine, so it just sits on the shelf.
I mean, that's valid.
Oh, it's
It's
actually
like white
kind of
and black
boring.
with like no, it's got glossy like decals on it. I will be there. I'm a sucker for a sort of collab
I'm just
controller.
talking, like when you talk about that one though, then you can compare it to like the Spider-Man one, right? There's a lot more design that's gone into that. I
See,
feel.
I don't like black controllers. I'm always a sucker for bright colors. I've got 3 grey, 3 white, 2 blue, and this white and black one. I don't know what it is. I think where I have sweaty hands when I game, if I get a black controller, it really shines. So I'm always a big advocate for brighter controllers which don't show it up as much. So I will very much be there. For
That's a
the
white
Last of Us one.
controller that really shows the grime in the
Yeah.
cracks.
No, I don't really get grimy. I just get sweaty hands. So it's perfect for me. A big one.
Cross.
Referee. One that I saw a lot of pop on Twitter. Activision announced a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake to be released on the 11th of July. This is essentially the same games with more skaters, more areas, the same OG soundtracks with some new additions as well. So it's pretty much what everyone in the community who's like a big Tony Hawk fan wanted and more. I didn't play the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake.
No,
But
no.
I
That
heard
didn't
very
get good
good things.
reviews.
Yeah, I heard very mixed reviews, to be fair. I feel like the casual player loved it, but it wasn't necessarily what the die-hard fans wanted. Whereas,
Got ya.
from what I've heard, the 3 and 4 remake is and will be. I can imagine if this one's successful, they'll carry on doing all the Undergrounds, American Wastelands.
Yeah.
So I might be there. I'll probably wait till see what the reviews are like
Fair enough.
before purchasing that one. And then one I think we all mentioned in the Discord a couple of weeks ago, Fable has unfortunately been
Big
delayed
sad.
until 2026, which obviously it's disappointing, but at the same time, a game that big, and I mean, when was Fable 3?
I know
Like,
it's gonna happen.
2008,
like
6?
something stupid. It was on Xbox 360, so it was a very long time ago. I'd rather them wait until it's ready. And
2010. I was wrong.
Even still, 15 years we've waited
Yeah.
for a new one. I'd very much rather than wait for it to be ready.
Yeah, I mean,
What do we
Fable
get
is not
first,
gonna be-
GTA 6 or Fable 4?
Well, this is the thing. Do you think part of it is the game isn't ready, but also when is GTA coming out? Because Xbox have got to be thinking like, this is a big game. Well, like, we don't want it to be crowded.
Yeah, that will.
And being
gone
on Game
into it.
Pass does hurt them initial sales.
Yeah, Fable.
I mean,
on Game Pass is
I
a dub
predicted
for
this was going to be
consumers.
delayed. It was my counter pick, so
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
you
get-
counter
I'll
pick
get wrecked.
Fable.
I did.
Who picked it? It weren't me.
It was,
Was
I
it?
did.
it was
I
Con,
did.
but
Oh,
have you
okay.
dropped it now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what a counter pick for you. Yeah.
I mean,
I think you could, I think that drops your counter pick and allows you to change
No.
it.
it keeps it.
They're not.
I
Get
yeah, I
wrecked.
don't think you can drop counter.
Well,
picks
the
from
thing is,
memory,
that the
I can't
counter picks,
remember.
I've realised they're not that great. You just get 0 points if you're right. Like,
I think it's more of a case of if one does rubbish and it does come
Yeah,
out.
if one gets like 50, you get a boatload of points.
So like
Yeah.
you can, it's just sort of an extra little bonus in it, I
Yeah.
suppose, if something does go wrong. But yeah, delayed until 2026. Again, I'm very much an advocate for if you don't think the game's going to be ready, delay it. So obviously disappointing, but in the long run, it will hopefully be worth it. What have we been playing? I mean, I think I know what you two have been playing. You two can expand on that, but is my main guess still going to be Marvel Rivals, or have you been dabbling in anything else?
I've played so much in the last month. It's crazy.
Love to hear that.
I've played some Avowed. I've played a very little bit of Indiana Jones. Gorgeous game. I look forward. I'm now waiting to build my new PC and load it on my new PC just to absolutely crank the fuck out of it because it's such a pretty game. But yeah, I played a bit of Avowed. I enjoyed
Thoughts on
it.
Avowed so far? Yeah.
I'm maybe like an hour and a half into it, but it's very much a me style of game in the way it plays. My only thing is I'm more of a sci-fi setting dude than a fantasy setting dude. So it'd be more appealing to me if it was the same mechanics but more space. But that's like essentially Starfield.
Bad game.
I've started playing Balotro, which
Yes.
it's got me by the balls, man.
That's why I don't think Hori can ever get.
gamblers, you lot.
He will just.
Yeah,
be
no,
up
Hori's
until-
never
No,
allowed.
yeah.
The podcast dies the second he downloads it.
I'm avoiding that game.
I've downloaded Vampire Survivor because that was also on Game
Yes, now
Pass.
another great game.
And I downloaded Mullet Mad Jack. So I've
Oh
literally got
yeah,
out
I
there.
see you mentioned this.
Yeah.
What's this game?
I've got downloaded 3 roguelites, which are all completely different, but they're still roguelites. And I've always said I hate roguelites. I've now discovered I just have never played a roguelite that suits me. So you got Blockro, which is obviously poker based, Vampire Survivor, which is like 2D side scroller, fucking
Yep.
so much fun. And then Mullet Mad Jack is on Game Pass as well, so fucking hilarious game. It's like you know, Raid, the old action film where you got to work through like the floors.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it's that kind of idea,
Oh,
but you're
yeah.
like a Duke Nukem style protagonist, and you get like a 10-second life timer. But every time you kill someone, you get like 2 seconds more,
It goes up. Okay.
and you've got to work your way through all the levels, and you get like
Without the
power
time
ups and
running out.
stuff,
Okay.
and you can get pretty fucking crazy with it, and it's a lot of fun. It's pretty weird, and you feel like you're going a million miles an hour, and then you get like a very little bit of respite, and then you've got to go again. But yeah, no, a lot of fun at the minute. I've also just been dabbling in some other bits. But Marvel Rivals has still got a decent amount of time. I've not played any ranked in a little while though.
Neither have I, to be honest. I've been playing Marvel Rivals a lot still. I've then also, with my IRLs, been playing Repo. I don't know if any of you guys have seen streamers and stuff playing that.
I've heard about it. I've not watched any of
Only
it.
a little bit.
It's a lot of fun. It's basically a new version of like the Lethal Company, if you remember when that was popping off. Same
Yeah.
sort of concept. You go into a level, you collect items, there's monsters. It's just got some very fun, like it has text to speech if you do type in chat, which is just adds a bit of humor. The items will break and will be fragile and stuff, so that's like another. There's a lot of chaos will happen, which always creates humor. But yeah, other than that, it's been Marvel Rivals and a little bit of Fragpunk. Actually, I gave Fragpunk.
Oh, I have seen you on Discord playing that.
go.
Any thoughts? I've seen a couple of clips on TikTok. Nothing
It's
too major yet.
I don't think it'll be like the bit. It's not gonna take over like Marvel Rivals has, but I think it's a fun take on that genre of like the sort of search and destroy game mode. The arcadiness is a lot of fun.
When
I
like
think
X Defiant and Spectre Divide haven't even managed to survive a year, does this?
I think it does because it's a Chinese dev and the like Chinese games monetize like mad and they don't abandon, and like the Chinese player base will they happily pump money into those games. So
Well, not to get political, there is an element of they're limited on what they can play a little bit more. So if this game is made in China and seen as acceptable, they know that game's not going to go anywhere for them, so they can play it.
Yeah, and also I know from like playing MMOs and stuff that are more Asian studio based, they have a different cultural opinion on cosmetics. Like we buy them because we think they look cool, and like what we like is general rule is you buy a skin because you think it looks cool. They will spend money to flex money. So like they will spend loads on cosmetics to be like.
Is that why Valorant's so expensive? Because they know they've got the huge Asian market.
Possibly.
Probably.
But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. The arcade card side of it creates some funny rounds. Like there's some funny ones like you can sleep to regain health, so you literally lie down on the floor and start sleeping. There's Ricochet that'll make the map icy so everyone can slide around. It can remove a site or add an extra site to plant at and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. It's one of those games where like I'll hop on it probably every now and then and give it a go, but I don't think it'll be a mainstay game for me.
Good.
What have you been playing?
Might be one that we could be worth checking out between us.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I'm done to download it.
It's free to play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think I'm very much like until I got my new PC built by like probably this time next month. I'm probably not downloading any new games because then if I like it, I have to then reinstall it again. So I'm not doing it. Whatever games are currently installed, I'm playing. Other than that, it can fucking wait.
I mean, that's pretty valid. Myself, what have I been playing, Hori? I have been playing Silent Hill 2. I'm not recording this. I'm just sort of chilling out, playing it on my own time. Always in the evening. It's got to be dark when you play a horror game, in my opinion. Quite a way in now. Probably 10 or so hours in. I'd say having a good time, pooing my pants.
You should screen share it with me while you're playing so I can watch, and then I'll be like immersive jump scares.
Immersive jump scares. It's very. I played it on PS2 back in the day. My dad, for some reason, let me. I was literally probably like 6 or 7 years old. And there's a lot that I'm playing now that I don't remember. So obviously I didn't get very far when I was younger.
I feel like that every time I play a game I remember from my childhood. I like played 2 hours and I'm like, this is further than I ever got. I spent 100 hours in this game and didn't get past the first 2 hours of content.
I feel like when I have think about it now, I'm pretty sure every time I play Silent Hill 2, I started from the beginning. So like, I was just playing the same bit.
You have a memory card.
So yeah, very much enjoying that. Dragon Age: The Veilguard was one that originally reviews were okay, but I hadn't played a Dragon Age game before. It wasn't really on my radar. I thought I might check it out one day. And then it got added to PS Plus, so it was free. So I thought,
Added it to my library when I saw that. I was like, oh, I'll keep it in that pocket.
because it was no longer £45, I thought I might dabble. I might dabble in this. I'm 20 hours in, 25 hours, having an absolute blast. What a video game this is.
Sweet.
The game looks unbelievable. The story's okay. I'm not like fully in love with it, but the gameplay is great. Really, really good. The combat is fun. There's so many different abilities that you can equip. There's like 6 to 8 different companions you can have in your team. You have 2 of them at a time. You can customize all of their abilities, all of their weapons, all of their armor.
Wait,
Huge
are you one of them
skill
people
tree.
who uses companions in games?
In this one, you have to.
Oh, that's it. No, burn it with fire. I'm forever a lone wolf. I've never had a companion in a video game that doesn't piss me off.
In this one, you have to, because like the quest lines, sometimes you have to have one of them because they've got a certain ability that you need.
Oh,
So each
crazy.
character's
Sounds like
got
playing
their own
Pokemon,
unique
mate.
Do they
ability.
block doorways?
No, they're very good. They do stay out the way.
Okay, maybe it's not a
Until you're
problem
in combat, you don't really notice them, in my opinion. There is dialogue obviously going on in the background, but
then. Waffling.
there is a lot of waffle, and there's times it's just classic sort of open world games where, say, you get interrupted by, like, there's your companions are having a dialogue conversation. A cutscene interrupts it. Instead of carrying it on, they'll repeat the whole start of the conversation, which sometimes is really jarring. It is what it is. Very much enjoying it. It's just taken a long time. I believe the platinum's between 50 and 60 hours, so I'm probably only halfway through, which isn't ideal because I want to. I mentioned earlier I've got Assassin's Creed Shadows coming tomorrow.
Mhm.
I want to play that, but I don't want to have 2 such big games going on at once. My hard drive
Looming
simply hasn't
over
got the space for all the footage on that one. But yeah, Dragon Age and Silent Hill, very much enjoying. PS games at the minute, again, always got Balotro going on. I've got it on my iPad and on Steam, 2 separate accounts. Some at very different stages, so it gets confusing mixing between the 2. But in general, just having a great time gaming at the minute, which is always nice. No downtime, still getting through the backlog, which is very good. The pod for this month, I can't even remember what we discussed last month. It feels like we're always discussing GTA. So I wanted
You
to
just
move
make
away
sure that's
from that.
definitely not happening.
We won't be discussing GTA.
I mean,
this
there's
month.
not really anything else to discuss at the moment on GTA. So.
Not until
Disagree.
there's a date, no. Instead, we're going to be talking about a franchise that's very different to GTA, Pokemon. We're going to be sort of discussing the state of Pokemon in 2025 because there's such, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just in such a weird state at the minute across everything, because obviously there's so many different forms that Pokemon takes on. I'm sure you would have seen Pokemon Go has been purchased by a Saudi company, PIF, for 2.7 billion.
Is it crazy of me to say that seems cheap?
Probably,
Like, surely Pokemon Go was making so much more money than that.
now I don't know how well, like, say in the last year.
Yeah, it's not.
I know, like, even
as
like
big
2
as it
years
once
ago, it's still
was.
making money. I stopped playing last summer, I think. Pretty much when I moved out, I just stopped playing.
I also wouldn't be surprised if TCG Pocket has kind of cannibalized some of the players.
So they've just gone, fuck it, we'll sell it while we can still get good value for it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, just in terms of in-game purchases, like, that goes crazy. Everything's so expensive in that game, and Pokemon Go is very much pay to win, in my opinion. You can have a free account and have fun, but to get the best Pokemon, you have to constantly be participating in raids. If you don't have any raid passes, you have to pay for them. There's no way around it. But yeah, they've been bought by Scopely, who you may know as the owner of Monopoly Go, which I've never played.
Neither of that. I assumed that was made by the same people who made Pokemon Go this entire time. I've got to be honest.
I've played Monopoly Go. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not like
Do you have to
Pokemon
like
Go.
walk to roll?
No, like you build out boards and like play on a board, and then like when you level up, you get like a new themed board. And I did
What's
it
the
like
go element? Is it just like you can play on the go?
probably. It's just because it's like you constantly can keep playing. Like there's no like, oh, game's done, like in Monopoly.
Got ya.
It's one of those where like a typical mobile game, you play it for like a day or two, do a bunch of levels, and like, okay, I've just been playing the same thing on board now, and that gets deleted off my phone.
But from what I read, they're also raking in like
Probably.
billions of pounds.
Oh, I
in,
see adverts for them on like
purchases.
TikTok and Instagram constantly.
Like all mobile games, it'll be, oh, you've got this many charges and you've run out. Buy some more, buy some gems, like all the usual.
So I'm interested. I've not read anything because I still follow a couple of Pokemon Go creators across different platforms. I haven't watched any videos or read any articles on what their thoughts are yet. I don't know how this will impact what's going on in game, because I know there is a lot of in-game events and there's different community days throughout the year. How the new owners will go about that, because obviously I don't know like the release schedule and how much content Monopoly Go gets. So hopefully it doesn't just sort of
but
the content doesn't go down. I'm not
the
sure.
owners and
how
the
it works.
devs will be separate. It's just how much like the owners want to push certain things on the devs to create, or if they're just happy with how it is and it's just like, oh,
they're like, that's great. We would just like to be the beneficiary.
Yeah, we just want the money.
You're laughing.
So,
but there's a real danger they might come in and go make everything twice as expensive, and also we're firing half of you to maximize profits.
Also could happen.
It is a strange one, and I'm hoping for the people that do still play that it will work out well, and hopefully they won't just try and milk even more money, because then people will have no money left, because that game is already so pay to win.
Yeah.
And then Hori, you mentioned it could, or Con, it might have been you, I do apologise, sort of linked it to TCG Pocket with the expansion of that. That is also, as we know, bringing in a shit ton of money in-game
that's got to be
purchases.
making an ungodly amount of money, an unfathomable amount of money.
Considering I've seen there's someone has spent the max amount of money they can every day since it came out.
Is there like a daily limit?
Yeah, so because it's a Chinese app, there are limits on like how much you can.
That's hilarious. They are limiting how much you can spend a day, and they are still making more money than God.
Because there's laws in China, so they can't go around. Like, but like someone had spent the most.
Breaking news: China has laws. More at 11.
I think it was before Triumphant Light I saw this, but someone had reached 10,000 cards.
Christ.
Yeah. And then there's people that have done things where like spend like buying Pokegold to like get a God pack or whatever, and like obviously spent thousands of pounds before they've got a God pack. So yeah, people are burning
It's a weird
money on
one
this
for
game.
me, because I feel like it's very much you don't need to spend money on this game.
No,
and
I think
you don't need to spend money on most mobile games.
Yeah, of course, but like in this one specifically,
yeah, I would say out of all mobile,
this is one of the better balance for freemium players for sure.
Getting the 2 packs a day, 12 hours apart, it hits often enough that you're like, I don't need to pay. But keeps you playing.
I think we should use this app as like a screener for people who have a gambling addiction, or like are more likely to become addicted to gambling. Because if you can't wait the 12 hours for your pack, you probably need to set limits on stuff.
I've definitely rolled high on my deception check then.
But like all of us in our group, we've almost complete. Oh, fair enough, valid.
I got sick of not having the best collection.
I know the rest of us are still playing daily, and we've complete or almost complete most of the sets.
Yeah,
like, obviously I know I've complete 2, and there's a couple where like you need like 5 cards, and you just have to keep rolling until you get it.
Yeah, and then
obviously with the addition of trading, I know a few of us completed some of the older sets by trading. So the fact that you need a lot of people spending money, obviously you spend money on whatever you want, but it's just crazy to me. And obviously we had the Triumphant Light expansion shadow drop, The Pokemon Presents. There were 75 more cards. I'm assuming people are going crazy spending money trying to get them, which we've all got like the top cards essentially.
Yeah.
Without spending money.
It's
So
just
it's a
people
strange
wanting
one.
to speed run that probably mainly do a lot of PvP on their game. So that
Sure.
if you want to be doing PvP all the time and like that's the main goal of your playtime on that, then yeah, you're gonna want the better cards from the new packs. But yeah, there's no need to spend money with, especially now trading's been added. Like if you're smart about it, you can get all the cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have friends.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I always find if I play a lot of PvP, everyone just sends a friend request anyway.
An inordinate amount of friend
So
requests.
you're never going to be struggling to find someone to trade with.
I've also had people try and friend me after getting a
like a wonder pick.
One of the pick. Yeah, a wonder pick. Like they clearly got a really good wonder pick off me.
Like,
They're like,
"Please
I want to
send me."
friend you. I'm like, no, go away. I don't know who you
Is
are.
anyone petty like me that if you do a wonder pick and don't get the card you want,
you just
don't
don't
send
like
them a
it.
thank you?
Yeah. No thumbs up from me.
I would never do something that petty.
I
do every
always
time.
give friends a thank you, but if it was some random thing and I didn't get the card that I wanted, I'm like, sorry, you're not getting a thanks. You were useless to me.
And another cool one to note, I have some Japanese friends that I've obviously battled, and they've added me. You can get Japanese variant cards, which is very cool. And if it's a new addition to the decks, it will appear in your decks. First appeared as Japanese, which is a pretty cool feature in my opinion. I've got a few Japanese cards now from doing wonder picks, which is quite nice. But again, going back to PvP, link abilities have been introduced, so it's another aspect to PvP, which freshens things up. I mean, and then I'm assuming in further drops there'll be more link ability cards. So it's just endless, really. I think.
Well, yeah, they're just slowly bringing in actual TCG,
more TCG elements,
yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pokemon Presents, like I said, was on the 27th of Feb. I was there watching the live, very much excited. As someone who's played the video games religiously every time they come out, I'm very much looking forward to Z-A as everyone else is. We got the first extended trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get my hopes up because Scarlet and Violet was. It was. Oh, I don't. Whenever I try and I get angry thinking about it because the concept and the actual game is so good, but the actual game is so bad at the same time. Good
yeah,
lord,
they fumbled the execution.
Oh my!
Phenomenal idea, fucking horrific execution. Taylor's all this
is,
time.
Oh my god, it is the worst looking game I've probably ever seen on the Switch, which is so frustrating because it's a Pokemon game. They shouldn't be releasing bad games like that. Sword and Shield quality wise was better, but which is frustrating. But we got Z-A, which is sort of a follow on from Arceus in the Legends series. One I thought was strange, we got Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile as the starters. So we're getting two from the same gen in Chikorita and Totodile, which is strange for me. I will be picking Totodile as I always did back in Silver and Gold.
The boy.
Yeah. But it was strange to me that they had two in the same gen.
I saw people joking that it was DEI starters.
Like, I just didn't, because in Arceus, 3 starters, all from different gens. So
I saw some people thinking it's because they don't want to do the new gen yet. So they've just picked some favorites from an older gen.
That's fair enough. I suppose there's so many they could have picked.
Yeah.
But it's valid, whatever it is, I will be there for Totodile. The setting of the game looks really good. Lumio City in the Kalos region. It's like a big high-techy sci-fi, well, not sci-fi, you like it. Yeah, it looks really good. They showed a lot of new aspects. There's separate parts of the city where there's like essentially Pokemon parks where you can go and just
their way of doing the tall grass.
Pretty much, yeah. Rather than them just being running around everywhere for you to catch. Cool element. And one that is quite controversial. I think it looks really good. So in battle now, obviously it doesn't like, it hasn't been for a while now. But I say that in Arceus, like old school turn-based combat, you just do the move, it appears on screen. You can now sort of like move and dodge the attacks. and switch out a lot more seamlessly between your Pokemon. So say he's just thrown in fire, you can dodge the fire attack with your grass Pokemon and throw in water, and sort of like it adds a new element, which I personally think is quite cool.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
a lot of the OG hardcore fans are a bit on the fence about it.
I don't know why, because
Understandably.
in my
I
head
think
it's
it takes
more.
tactical stuff away from it.
Uh,
Because it's like you could, it's one of these things, right? For a long time, if you wanted to like deal with reactions and stuff like that, that's what like FPS games were for. It's your reaction versus someone else's. I feel like against the computer, people are just gonna like min max the fuck out of. This is how you never get hit ever again, and it's just like you just master how to dodge. Against the computer, and for some people that ruins a bit like the fun and the danger. And then any kind of PvP elements, it just becomes like a once again, it comes down to like reactions and stuff. And when you consider, out of all gaming communities, how high the autism percentage is of Pokemon fans, I can see a lot of them being like, I've always loved Pokemon because I didn't need to have good reflexes, and now I feel like I'm being punished for not having good reflexes. Which is why Pokemon was always like the go-to game. It's like if your child needs to sit there for 10 minutes and decide what they want to do, it's actually not a problem because it's. I think this it's happening throughout gaming. Blurring lines of what genre is what is kind of hurting us in places, and I think that's how they view this. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I have no horse in this race, but I understand why people who enjoyed it for being a turn-based. You need to outthink and like predict and then get a little bit lucky. And they're like, oh, now I just need to be faster than the computer's timer for their move.
It's hard to tell because we saw it, but they didn't go into like loads of detail. I
No,
don't think it's going to be like some like sweaty.
So
Like there might be a stamina. It's hard
my
to tell
my
without
guess
knowing more
from a
about it.
glance is my brain went to the Final Fantasy combat system,
Yeah,
where like you have the ability to move around and then you pick moves while you like. It's gonna be some blend. I'm on board with it, and I'm also surprises me more people aren't, because to me, this blends closer to what we all remember from the Pokemon show. Like watching Pokemon, there wasn't like Ash didn't
it
just
wasn't
sit there and go,
turn-based. Yeah.
what should I make Pikachu do? No, Pikachu was dodging stuff and doing stuff that you couldn't do in the game because that's not how the combat worked. Also, like we'll get, I know it's a point for Ron, but like they also announced a battle game that is still the original battling mechanic.
Yeah.
Like it's like the old Pokemon Stadium mode of like, so that's still going to be there for those fans that want to play in that style more if they don't like this. But I also get that then they don't get the exploration style stuff. But
on that point, I think a lot of people are forgetting this isn't like a mainline normal game where it is typical turn-based. This is a Legends game. Arceus was very open world and did have like the 3D. You didn't go into like the turn-based screen from memory. So I feel like if this was implemented in like, I don't actually know what the next mainline title is going to be. Obviously, we've got Scarlet and Violet, which was the traditional system. Then fair enough. But because this is in Legends, I feel like people need to try it out before they slate it, because I reckon a lot of people will end up liking it. Because like I say, I don't think it's going to be like a really sweaty mechanic. Because at the end of the day, it's a Pokemon game. It's never going to be like super sweaty. You can get super sweaty and nerdy with it if you want, but I think the target audience, they're not going to make it something really hard. But yeah, I thought it looked really good myself. It's got a late 2025 release. Scarlet and Violet, the last mainline game, was a good couple of years ago now, I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping that they've taken their time with this one. If we get another Scarlet and Violet, I'm going to be so disappointed. And as it's going to be late 2025, we're assuming the Switch will be out by then. Will this be Switch 2 only to take advantage of the system and not be like Scarlet and Violet? Or are we going to sell as many copies as we can, like the Pokemon company like to do, and it will be on Switch 1 and 2?
Yeah. Why would they limit themselves like that?
I mean, I get the idea of like if they sell it to Switch 2, it maybe helps push Switch 2 sales. But I actually wouldn't even be surprised if it's like, oh, this is releasing on Switch 1 and maybe Switch 2 at a later date. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if it's just easier for them to release it on Switch 1 because Switch 2, I'm sure they've had dev kits to be like making sure it runs, but like they won't have had them as long as they've been making the games.
But also, let's be clear here, right? Black Ops 6 was released on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. We're currently talking about how in 2027 the new Xbox might be releasing, and they're still actively hampering games by making them for old hardware. And we're talking about a console that, we're gonna have it by the end of the year. I expect it'll probably come out height of summer, maybe. But that still only gives people like 6 months to have migrated over, and Pokemon is such a seller that they probably won't bother.
Yeah, and
I agree.
We know Mario Kart's going to be their launch game. So like that's where they're putting that money in.
It is a weird one. I do agree. I do think it'll be on both. The Pokemon fan in me wish it was Switch 2 just so it runs better. Obviously, we don't actually know any details about the Switch hardware itself, so it still might run rubbish anyway.
The handheld community is so much more competitive now as well. I'm worried the Switch 2 might look a bit bad.
Nintendo fans are going to buy it regardless because it's the only place you can play them games. Yes, Zelda, Mario, anything like that. It will sell gangbusters. And fair enough, I will be there. I will be one of them. And then, like Corey mentioned, we did get some gameplay on Pokemon Champions, which I thought looked really interesting. Because at first I couldn't really tell what was going on. It was very much just people battling each other. And I was like, well, we've got sort of different variations of this. But this one has crossplay and it looked very seamless. I'm sure they made it look better than it is between Switch and mobile, which I think looks very cool. It looks like Pokemon Stadium, but it's called Pokemon Champions this time, and it is your traditional sort of PvP. And I did see it links with Pokemon Home, so any Pokemon you've got on other games you can use in Pokemon Champions, which I think is cool.
That's very cool. There's like a hub game that allows people to pull their Pokemon from their different games.
Yeah,
like that's kind of cool.
No date on it yet. The Pokemon Works are working with Game Freak to develop it, but the fact that you can play it on Switch and mobile, I think, is very cool. It's going to increase the player base, because obviously to play Pokemon at the minute, realistically, you have to be on Switch. So adding the mobile element, I think, is pretty cool. And in terms of the video game elements, that's sort of that for now. And then the actual TCG itself, which is still probably Pokemon's biggest asset realistically, because the anime has finished, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think there's a new one coming, but the traditional
I think they will always
done.
I think that finished in 2022, 23, I recall. Well, the TCG is in a bit of a shambles right now. I am a collector myself. I recently got back into it within the last 6 months or so, and I've probably got back into it at the worst time possible. Prismatic Evolutions, it's still the Scarlet and Violet line at the minute, for all those who didn't know. Prismatic Evolutions dropped in January, and I don't know I don't know why, but Pokemon Company didn't print as much as they normally do, I believe, and so the scalping has been crazy. There's been people queuing up outside Smith's at before it's opened just to try and buy booster bundles, which is literally 6 packs. Elite trainer boxes are going on eBay for 3-4 times the market price. It is just in absolute disarray right now. People who want to buy the new collection, which most people always do, you physically can't unless you want to pay 3 times the price. So any casual dad whose son's just been because it's a very much if you can sign up to notifications and get restocks. I have myself. literally like sitting there like clicking refresh, trying to check out as quick as possible. Feels like a 2016 Supreme drop half the time. It's absolutely bonkers. But for like the casual dad whose son's gone, oh, I'd love some of the new Pokemon cards. I'd love to try and get the new EV lines. They're like gonna go into the shops and be like, have you got any prismatic evolutions? And the staff are gonna be like, are you crazy? Like, you can't just walk into a shop and buy any.
This
So
is like
it's just
one
in
of them
mud at the minute.
things that we can genuinely pinpoint and go, COVID fucking ruined it. Because like streamers were so bored they had nothing to do and they had more money than God because Twitch and YouTube had never had more viewership fucking ever. So they're like, fuck it, I want to spend money on stuff. So they just bought bunches and bunches of Pokemon cards and that caused the market to explode. And now, whenever a market explodes, scalpers come in, they pick it for fucking bones, they make it unbearable. It's genuinely insane that it's had such a lasting impact, and it's realistically probably never gonna fully recover back to just being something people can enjoy.
I think you've also got, it became so much easier to get cards graded than it ever used to be. Like, yeah, back in the day, cards, like baseball cards and sports cards, you could get them like graded and valued. But like this idea, you can just send off whatever cards and can get them graded and they're put in a slab and then it adds a new value to that card. That's what has kind of also ruined it, is because people suddenly realized, oh, I could get lucky and make hundreds of thousands of pounds off one card. Yeah, I'm going to spend a fuck ton of money and buy like every pack of cards. Gone are the days when we used to walk into Toys R Us and there was just a shelf filled with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like Magic, The Gathering, all the booster packs, and you could just grab as many as you wanted and it wasn't an issue.
Now you've got grown men scrapping in Costco trying to
hiding them under shelves or...
Literally, I was never a collector of Pokemon cards, but I vividly remember there was a couple of occasions where literally we'd go into the shops or whatever, and child brain, I'd see it and I'd be like, I want this, and it was like 150 or whatever.
Yeah,
so
they were like,
you don't ask please all the time, fine, whatever. And then I'd probably end up fucking destroying half the cards just from being a child. And now, like you say, you've literally, if a grown man sees a 4-year-old just pick a pack up, he's like going to be seething. He's like, have you weighed it to make sure it's got a good pack value? It's like, what are we doing? Because that's the other big problem now, isn't it? You've got people buying booster boxes and they're using like like MRI scanners to work out what's in the box.
If it's got a god pack and stuff.
And if it's not got good packs in it, they then just scalp it and sell it for loads more than it's worth. Because they're like, they won't know it's dog shit, but we know what we're selling it for is worth more than the cards in the box. And it's like, so you've just literally destroyed the entire concept of, like, for better or worse, the gambling element of it. Because you're just buying all these booster boxes, you're scanning them. If there's something really good in it, you're opening it because the card is worth more. And if it isn't, you're just listing it for 4 times the price, knowing there's shit all in there.
The amount of heavy packs that are on eBay right now is disgusting. People are selling like a booster pack, which most of them start at retail at £3.99 for like £100, just because. And it's been debunked by a lot of people that they've bought heavy packs, or they've bought, say, an ETB where you get 9-10 packs, like weighed them all out, opened the heavy ones, got nothing. Opened like some of the lighter ones and had like a demigod pack, and it's not even like a scientific like foolproof thing that you open a heavy pack. There's been people open heavy packs and it's because there's like an extra energy card in it or something like that. So people are buying £100, and there's a lot of resealing of packs at the minute where people are opening packs, sealing them, sending them back to Amazon, they're reselling them, and it's just in shambles at the minute. The Journey Together, which is the next promo, comes out next Friday. Yeah. Pre-orders are already sold out. You do very well to try and find some of them. So any parents, again, who are going to be like, their children want it, they'll do well to try and find that. And then Destined Rivals, late May. No pre-orders or anything have been available on that yet. But it's just in a shambles, which is a shame because there seems to be so much going on with the actual games and the franchise. It's the biggest, like, highest grossing franchise of all time, and in the TCG at the minute it's just they're having a bit of a mare. They have supposedly come out and said that Prismatic Evolutions will be getting a reprint, so there might be a boost, which will hopefully then bring sales down instead of bring card prices and stuff down for resale purposes, instead of making people scalp over them all again. But if they don't release enough of it, it's just a basic supply and demand. Same with any trainer drop that I used to buy back in the day.
The problem is with all of the bots that scalpers use, they create that scarcity instantaneously, and then they control the flow.
It's the same.
And
with
it's
anything.
not like Pokemon can go out there and make like reselling stuff illegal or against TOS or whatever, because that would then kill the entire game. So as much as like we can moan at the company who creates it here, it's kind of an element of there's actually not a lot they can do. What it needs is the entire Pokemon community to go, we are not buying anything that's listed above MSRP, so that scalpers are sitting on stuff that's worth so much money, they're then racing each other to the bottom just to get rid of it and not make a huge loss. But there's always going to be someone who's willing to spend a little bit more, and that's where the problem comes. It comes from them people who will pay over the odds because they want the thing.
I think Pokemon should just flood the market.
Can they flood it quickly enough though, and in a way that prevents scalpers from sucking up all the demand?
Local stores that stock can't then be sold through online. Yeah. Then then you have the stores limit how much a person can buy in a day. And that way the shelves, if they're getting that much stock in and they're limiting how much people can take, the shelves aren't going to empty as quickly. And then it's going to become this thing of like, oh, more people get the packs, so then less people are buying online from scalpers, so then their demand goes down and they get screwed.
There you go. Don't release anything for like 6 months and just print like mad, send it all out to shops all over the world and go, you are limiting people to spending X amount per day.
The rarity of cards can still be controlled in a way, like if you're printing more, it just means unfortunately more packs are going to have more general card. Like they just tweak the numbers that we print more packs, and the amount of packs that, or the percentage chance of getting a general card is just then a bit higher because to keep the rarities right.
Yeah,
they could do it, but like
there obviously is the downsides where the people who have spent thousands on cards, because at the minute
but that's not Pokemon's problem.
Yeah, I know. It's like SIRs at the minute are going up in value. Like literally in December, you could get a Bubble Mew for 95 quid. I think now I saw one sell on Whatnot the other day for like 180, 190. So like the higher end cards are going up because it's just basic supply and demand.
Here's the thing. Let's be real. TCGs, cryptos, all of these things are stocks. And what happens when the stock market needs to crash? People lose money. They lose money at value of assets. Unfortunately, that's the real world. Like Pokemon owes them nothing. If they want to flood the market, they have every right to. And if that crashes resellers' prices, tough luck. You shouldn't have pinned your whole financial liability on some Pokemon cards. Like,
very much valid. I just thought, discussing Pokemon and the state of the art was an interesting topic because we got
the brand is in a weird place for sure.
You got so many highs and lows. You got Pokemon Go, which has been bought out, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. You've got TCG Pocket that is thriving. We're all enjoying it. Con, you're a bit of a loser for dropping out on that one. You got the new game coming out, or a couple of new games coming out, which we can only be optimistic about and look forward to. And then you got the other side of it, the TCG, in a bit of a tough place right now. So you got highs, lows, things to look forward to, things not to look forward to. So I thought it was just quite an interesting topic to discuss and something away from GTA, which we all seem to talk about every month.
Is it out yet?
Absolutely
we would know if it was out because the internet would not be shutting up.
My phone would be beeping right now. So we haven't got
imagine if it dropped while we were recording. That'd be hilarious. Just like, oh, we cut the episode there. We all need to go download the game. Bye.
Yeah, I'd so
I don't forget
downloaded
Shadow
the
Drop,
game.
Yeah.
I'm sure my PC would really love me to play.
Sorry, I
the
need
game.
to call my boss and tell him I'm currently dying and we're back in 14 days.